The 7th year anniversary on Dragon Ball Legends is so close that I could taste it.
I can almost taste it.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Nah, for real though, it's only 10 days away and it feels like just yesterday when they introduced the new tag switch fusions. Well, this video should be live during the legendary maintenance, but we're quite literally getting the biggest update Legends has ever released. And with this, phones will require a higher RAM storage to operate, so that means if you don't have a phone that supports it, unfortunately, you won't be able to play Dragon Ball Legends until you upgrade. But with that, we're gonna get a new UI, including a ton of quality of life changes. The game should look like a brand new game, basically Legends 2.0. That's gonna give us a ton of other things, including better animations, better details, space in-game, potentially map interactions, giant characters, the list goes on, but there's plenty of unknown with this update and there's a lot of expectations riding on it. I want to lower our expectations a little bit, but not really actually. Thinking about it now, no, the expectations are quite literally endless. They've been glazing this update since the 6-year anniversary, so they've been wanting to push this out for some time, but one thing I'm insanely excited about is how this is going to be with new mechanics. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about a brand new potential mechanic that is very likely to be introduced during this 7th year anniversary, and even that the headliners having these abilities. And that ability is called domains. Domain expansion. Satoru Gojo head ass. I'm pretty sure Dokkan Battle already has access to this mechanic, and I don't know any of the implications over there or what it does in that game, but I'm just gonna give you my ideas on what it could potentially do in Legends. So, domains, defined as in an area or territory owned or controlled by a ruler or a government. And in this game, obviously a ruler, so the domain being the ruler, taking you and your opponent into a different arena, a different setting, an aura, a different field, and this being able to be done because of the new update changes, right? The RAM going from 1 to 4, there is high potential ceiling with what they're going to be able to do with not only these domains, we could have potential field interactions, building destructions, obstacles, things that just interrupt you in the middle of the fight, kind of like paralysis or faint, not to really support those abilities, but the game's already heavily RNG developed, so I could only imagine there's things that will just exist in these domains, but they're just a theory at the end of the day. Ground fights are potentially approaching, so we got a hint of this in the beginning of the year with the Gohan and Trunks succession mechanic. Basically, when their first life does deplete, they get sent to a different location. I mean, the location being the floor. All of Dragon Ball Legends gameplay, the fights all take place in the sky, so no matter what map you're in, you are fighting in the sky. And once the Gohan character does fall and he's revived as the Super Saiyan Trunks, that is taking place on the ground. You see Gohan's face in the puddle, Trunks is tweaking out, he's doing his scream, and then he powers up, but he's standing on the floor. You can see the buildings, you can see the rocks, all the details. Imagine being able to fight in that setting, potentially walk or float amongst the ground area of Dragon Ball Legends. How any mechanics or active gauge, unique gauge, synchro gauges, you kind of have to fill up and time gate these abilities. I could see domains requiring a very similar feat there. So either it would activate during a main ability or a main ability into ultimate, or maybe it could even be some sort of revival ability where you have your first life deplete, have a succession or even a comeback mechanic, and you get separated into a different domain. However it is activated, most likely the majority of them will be through a unique gauge. So this domain gauge sends you to the floor to have floor combat battles. So float to the ground, fall to the ground, get sent off flying to the ground. And I'm thinking specifically for this year because Tournament of Power, if you guys remember anything in the anime, it was actually held on the field. You weren't able to fly in that arena or you would be disqualified. The Tournament of Power domain will be an ability very likely if that 7th anniversary is universe rep themed. Angel Golden Frieza just got a free-to-play character. MUI Goku getting some type of aura-like domain. I think I seen it on Dokkan, but basically him and the opponent is trapped around his aura, or like his divine aura that gets expanded when he transforms into UI, and you kind of just have to fight in that battle. So I don't know if they would go with that kind of setting, or if they would just take you to the TOP arena specifically, but there will be an endless possibility factor with this. It doesn't need to be anything specific. Believe that this ability will be able to be given to a multitude of different characters. So like Broly, you can be taken to a shattered dimension realm. Sure, you've heard of this, but it's really easy. Compose this theory where Gogeta and him are fighting so aggressively that they break the dimension and get sent to a completely different realm. And in that realm, Broly's realm, it could even be a Gogeta have a similar type domain. You know, the abilities in that domain would either give the user advantages, user buffs. It would set the opponent maybe at a disadvantage, debuffs, a potential trap for a one-shot kill snipe. A character we already have in the game that would have something very similar to the implications of a domain is Hit's time skip. So he has a time gauge, hourglass gauge, that once it fills up, you're able to proc it. And your opponent, if he doesn't react fast enough, he gets trapped in that gauge, trapped in Hit's domain. It really does feel like a domain in game because you're the only one that's able to move. Your opponent's stuck in time, and you're able to deal as much damage as possible before the time runs out. And you could even pop your ultimate in that domain. So back in his prime, it was pretty much just a one-shot kill tech, and it's literally so OP. I could see this new mechanic, frame 1, being a snipe kill. So whether you get your first life popped and you use that to kind of kill off a character, or it's like a unique gauge where you kind of have to build up like Beast Gohan. In one instance, you're able to tap it and just snipe a character off the rip. It's going to be done differently by taking you to a place to either have an ultimate, have a special ability move, or be at such an advantage that it's just going to be a one-shot kill for your opponent's first life, or even just entirely. Imagine having domains that nullified second lives. It could be the only way to nullify a succession or even a comeback mechanic, but these are even just more theories. I think floor battles are very likely with this domain expansion. Domain possibilities, MUI and his Galaxy Aura. He's getting buffs for Universe Rep. He's transported into a TOP arena. I'm not entirely sure if the opponent will be able to fight back in a domain. I would assume so, but he just might not be able to do anything so aggressive. Super Gogeta in the Hell type arena with the jelly beans floating around. I don't know if that could have an implication to kind of affect how you're fighting in that field of view. Zamasu with the faces background, so whether that's Fusion Zamasu or Goku Black, can have kind of a future Trunks arc field of view. The abilities could just be implied to buff him specifically or give certain abilities to the team. Broly in the Shatter Dimension realm. Hit, you could literally give him another time skip domain, but the change of view to a specific characters, sending you and your opponent to a different background setting, and this might actually break the game. If you really think about the implications we're talking about here, sending you and your opponent just to a different area of fighting is really just going to be a complete change of pace to the Dragon Ball Legends experience. We've been fighting in the sky almost 7 years here, so if you guys haven't seen my last video where I break down the potential headliners, I think it's going to be MUI Goku and Full Power Broly. So MUI Goku having his Aura domain, or even a Tournament of Power domain, and Broly having his Shattered Dimension domain gives them both to be new ways to either play the game, run different teams. It's going to have buff Movie Saga, it could be buff God Key, buff Universe Rep, and I'm just excited to see how this will play a huge effect. It could be either insanely broken, or it could just be insanely cool to see, because it sounds more broken than anything if you really think about it. Sending your opponent to the floor to kind of just get beat down at such a disadvantage. Say if you end up getting caught in this, right? There are ways to get out of some of these abilities, like Beast Gohan's gauge, you just have to tap him. Hit's time skip, if you catch him at a certain time, you know, there is no way out of it. You just time it correctly, and then he's trapped in this either domain, he's trapped in a snipe kill, a special beam cannon, and it's going to be insane to see with some of these characters. But I'm really excited for the detail, the animations, the new effects with this update. Let me know what you guys think about this domain mechanic idea, but I think it's very likely to be implemented. And yeah, 7th anniversary, they're really about to change things up with this. So domains, mark my words, we're probably going to be seeing them soon. If you guys have any ideas or thoughts about this, leave them in the comment section below, or how this could be developed even further. What type of abilities could characters get through these domains? What kind of conditions will the opponents have to go through in these debuff settings or these disadvantaged settings? Will they be trapped? Will they be free to fight? Will they be able to go through buildings, through rocks? I could see that too, very similar to how Broly's big rock is just spawned during his LF animation. Imagine being able to hit characters through buildings in the future arc, or through city scenes, or through world tournament scenes, or through the giant rock, for instance. This theory can go on and on. We just need to see what this update does and give us with this massive overhaul. But I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay frosty. I'm out.